I want to go back. One of the pieces of your story that's interesting, people wouldn't know much about, is you had Vietnamese civilians working for you on these bases. So you're on a base basically at Pleiku or that area?
Yes.
All right. And with that first unit you had, you basically inherited a Maid?
I came in first day, and first day they can't use you yet. First off, everybody gets climatized, so they spend a week or two climatizing you. And the poor infantry are running and doing other things. And I can't fly yet. First off, I haven't had a check ride. Haven't had all my equipment issued. I haven't had my physical. So there's a lot of things that have to happen before I can fly. So they told me just sleep in. And they gave me this room. And basically the barracks is a pole building on a slab. And the outside siding, you can actually inside look out and see the ground outside. You look up through the rafters and you can see the steel roofing. And the room's 8 by 8, and I got one all by my lonesome. And they told me, when you wake up in the morning, come on down. We'll get you started. I mean, no sense worrying about getting up early or anything. And so I'm sleeping in, and I'm a fairly light sleeper anyway. And the door opens, and there's this Vietnamese standing in the doorway. And keep in mind now, my room is like 50 to 75 yards from the outside perimeter. And I'm green as grass, don't know anything. So I drew my .45 cock and locked it, and I aimed right at her, hollered, halt. And she did. She froze, statue style, standing right there, and the two of us are in this Mexican standoff until Doc finally hears her. She starts talking, but she's... I have no idea what that said, but anyway, Doc looks around the door casing at me and sees me in there and says, if you shoot her, you'll have to do your own laundry. Oh. She'd been using the room to like put a blanket over a footlocker and iron clothes and stuff like that. And she didn't know there was somebody in there, and I didn't know she was coming in. She ended up being my maid. That was and everybody gets a laundry mark. And I have no idea what it means, but I was number Hocken 10. And they rate everything from 1 to 10, and 10's as bad as you can be. And if you're number 1, that's super. And I started off being number Hocken. She wrote it on the door. I mean, not just my clothes, but she wrote it on my door. So that was my start with her. But it was a relationship that I didn't forget. I had 2 other maids as I was reassigned. You asked me about it. I was reassigned to 52nd Group Headquarters and then to 6th of the 14th. And both those units were on the hill. And both times I got moved to a different barracks. And I ended up with a different maid. And I don't remember much about either one of the other 2. Of course, like I said earlier, you know, we're talking 50 years ago. If you'd asked me earlier, I could probably remember that. But Mai was the first one. And then there were 2 captains going home that didn't pay her. And I cornered them at the O Club the night they were due to leave. And I asked them if they'd paid Mai, and I knew they hadn't. And I asked them to give me the money, and we could buy them a box of soap and a can of shoe polish a month. And when I say pay her, she took our laundry out, washed them. During the monsoons, they took out every piece of leather we had, saddle soaped it and polished it so it didn't grow mold. And if you had one of the rooms had a counter in there with a hot plate and some other stuff, and if I left anything, they took it out, cleaned it, brought it back, put it there. The room got swept out. They changed the linen on the bed. I don't know. But she got $2.50 a month. Yeah, it was 1,000 piastre. That was their money. And we paid them in piastre. They didn't get paid in U.S. They didn't get paid in military pay currency. They got paid in piastre. And that was 1,000 piastre a month. And we weren't allowed to pay them more, and we weren't allowed to give them anything else. They were worried about inflating their economy and causing trouble. So we were limited what we could pay them. They did eat their lunch on the base, and that was provided.